1968 was indeed the best year for muscle cars, showcasing stunning machines. Under the hoods roared powerful V8s that not only turned heads but also propelled these cars to achieve excellent quarter-mile figures. Let's review them in this episode. Before diving into the countdown, kindly hit that like button and subscribe. Number 10. Pontiac GTO Royal Bobcat, 13.8 seconds at 104.4 miles per hour. The 1968 Pontiac GTO Royal Bobcat was a legendary muscle car born from a collaboration between Pontiac and Royal Pontiac, a high-performance dealership in Royal Oak, Michigan. Under the hood was a 428 cubic inch V8 engine producing 390 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. The engine was mated to a 4-speed manual, Muncie M21/M22, transmission, and the car could run the quarter mile in 13.8 seconds at 104.4 miles per hour. Number 9. Pontiac Firebird 400 HO, 13.79 seconds at 106 miles per hour. The 1968 Pontiac Firebird 400 HO was positioned as a competitor to the Ford Mustang and Chevrolet Camaro. The 1968 Firebird came with dual hood scoops, which were functional with the optional Ram Air package. Under the hood was a 400 cubic inch high-output V8, producing 335 horsepower at 5,000 RPM and 430 pound-feet of torque at 3,400 RPM. It featured a 10.75-to-1 compression ratio, Rochester quadrajet 4-barrel carburetor, and high-flow dual exhausts with tuned manifolds. The Firebird 400 HO had a 4-speed manual, Muncie, transmission, and it could run the quarter mile in 13.79 seconds at 106 miles per hour. Number 8. Chevrolet Camaro Z28, 13.77 seconds at 107.4 miles per hour. The Z28 trim was introduced in 1967 to comply with SCCA Trans Am racing rules, which limited engine displacement to 305 cubic inches. Under the hood of the 68 Z28 was the 302 cubic inch small block V8, rated at 290 horsepower at 5,800 RPM and 290 pound-feet of torque at 4,200 RPM. It featured an 11.0-to-1 compression ratio and a Holley 780 CFM 4-barrel carburetor mounted on a high-rise aluminum intake manifold. This engine was mated to a 4-speed manual, Muncie M21/M22 transmission, and the car could run the quarter mile in 13.77 seconds at 107.4 miles per hour. Number 7. Hurst Olds 455, 13.71 seconds at 102.2 miles per hour. The 1968 Hurst Olds 455 was a groundbreaking muscle car collaboration between Oldsmobile and Hurst Performance. This car's dual-scoop fiberglass hood provided functional cold air induction. Under the hood was the 455 cubic inch Rocket V8, rated at 390 horsepower at 5,000 RPM and 500 pound-feet of torque at 3,200 RPM. The engine featured a 10.5-to-1 compression ratio, a Rochester quadrajet 4-barrel carburetor, and a high-lift camshaft. The Hurst Olds was offered exclusively with an automatic transmission, the TH400 Turbo Hydromatic 3-speed automatic. This car could run the quarter mile in 13.71 seconds at 102.2 miles per hour. Number 6. Chevrolet Chevelle SS 396 L78, 13.6 seconds at 105 miles per hour. The 1968 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 396 L78 was Chevrolet's answer to models like the Pontiac GTO, Ford Fairlane 500 GT, and Dodge Coronet RT. Under the hood was the 396 cubic inch L78 big block V8, rated at 375 horsepower at 5,600 RPM, and 415 pound-feet of torque at 3,600 RPM. It featured an 11.0-to-1 compression ratio, a Holley 780 CFM 4-barrel carburetor on a high-rise aluminum intake manifold, a solid lifter camshaft, and high-flow cast-iron exhaust manifolds. The L78 Chevelle SS came with a 4-speed manual, Muncie M21/M22 transmission, and it could run the quarter mile in 13.60 seconds while traveling at 105 miles per hour. We hope you're enjoying this episode. Before we review the remaining 5 1968 Giants, please hit the like button and subscribe. It will help us create more content for you. Number 5, Ford Mustang 428 CJ, 13.56 seconds at 106.6 miles per hour. The 1968 Ford Mustang 428 Cobra Jet, or CJ, was introduced to rival established muscle cars like the Chevrolet Camaro Z28 and Plymouth Barracuda 440. The 1968 Mustang's functional hood, scoops with the Cobra Jet package, fed cooler air to the massive engine, boosting performance. Under the hood was the 428 cubic inch Cobra Jet V8, which produced 335 horsepower at 5,400 RPM and 445 pound-feet of torque at 3,400 RPM. It featured a 10.6-to-1 compression ratio, a Holley 735 CFM 4-barrel carburetor, a high-rise cast-iron intake manifold, and a dual exhaust system. The 428 Cobra Jet was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission, and it could run the quarter mile in 13.56 seconds at 106.6 miles per hour. Number 4, Plymouth Roadrunner Hemi, 13.54 seconds at 105.1 miles per hour. The 1968 Plymouth Roadrunner Hemi was a no-nonsense muscle car prioritizing raw performance over luxury. Plymouth licensed the Roadrunner cartoon character from Warner Brothers, incorporating the iconic beep-beep horn and decals, which added a playful touch to its otherwise aggressive demeanor. The 426 cubic inch Hemi V8 roared under its hood, producing 425 horsepower at 5,000 RPM and 490 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM. It featured a 10.25-to-1 compression ratio, twin Carter AFB 4-barrel carburetors on a dual-plane aluminum intake manifold, a high-lift hydraulic camshaft, and hemispherical combustion chambers. The Hemi was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission, and the car could run the quarter mile in 13.54 seconds at 105.1 miles per hour. Number 3, Dodge Charger RT Hemi, 13.5 seconds at 105 miles per hour. The 1968 Dodge Charger RT Hemi competed directly with heavy hitters like the Plymouth Roadrunner, Pontiac GTO, and Chevrolet Chevelle SS. Under the hood was the 426 cubic inch Hemi 5.8, which produced 425 horsepower at 5,000 RPM and 490 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM. It was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission, and the car could finish the quarter mile in 13.5 seconds at 105 miles per hour. Number 2, Mercury Cougar XR7 GTE 428 CJ, 13.43 seconds at 103.4 miles per hour. The 1968 Mercury Cougar XR7 GTE 428 Cobra Jet, or CJ, was positioned as Mercury's upscale alternative to the Ford Mustang. The GTE package initially featured the 427 cubic inch V8, a race-bred engine sourced from Ford's FE big block family. However, Mercury swapped the 427 for the all-new 428 cubic inch Cobra Jet V8. The 428 cubic inch Cobra Jet V8 produced 335 horsepower at 5,400 RPM and 445 pound-feet of torque at 3,400 RPM. It featured a 10.6-to-1 compression ratio, a Holley 735 CFM 4-barrel carburetor, high-flow cylinder heads, and a dual exhaust system. The 428 was mated to a heavy-duty 3-speed automatic as standard, but there was also a 4-speed manual transmission. The car could run the quarter mile in 13.43 seconds at 103.4 miles per hour. Number 1, Chevrolet Corvette 427 L88, 13.3 seconds at 108 miles per hour. The 1968 Chevrolet Corvette 427 L88 was a limited production car designed for racing. It marked the introduction of the third-generation Corvette, or C3, which featured a completely new design with aggressive styling inspired by the Mako Shark II concept car. Under the hood was a 427 cubic inch big block V8, rated at 430 horsepower at 5,200 RPM and 450 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM. It had a compression ratio of 12.5 to 1, a Holley 850 CFM 4-barrel carburetor on an aluminum intake manifold, a solid lifter camshaft, high-flow aluminum cylinder heads, and free-flowing headers. The 427 was mated to an M22 Rock Crusher 4-speed manual transmission, and the car could run the quarter mile in 13.3 seconds at 108 miles per hour. Which of these muscle cars do you love? Share with us in the comment section below. Also, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to be notified when we upload automotive content like this.